pair of jet fighters and a UFO engaged in a standoff over the Michigan town of Bad Axe in early June, according to an organization called the National UFO Reporting Center. Multiple outlets reported that witnesses claimed to have seen what looked like to be a dogfight between F-16s and an unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. One witness recounted seeing a white, rapidly moving metallic disc easily outmaneuver the jets.
Unlike the Las Vegas sighting caught on police body cam footage, which Rising covered, local authorities say no official police reports have been made. A representative for the 180th Fighter Wing Air National Guard based in Toledo, Ohio, told the outlet Outkick the Coverage that there were jets in the area doing dogfighting exercises, but denied they engaged with anything other than fellow jet fighters, and certainly not any UFOs. Are they making that up, Jessica? What do you think? Covering for something, maybe?
Yeah, there's always a military base nearby, and it was some kind of training exercise. We have so many military bases. The UFO sighting could be anywhere, and they could say, oh, it was the military base closest to that. But I could see a world where we did report here on Rising that there's confirmation of at least a dozen alien spacecraft. Non-human spacecraft is how they put it. Now, it has been a mission, according to Michael Schellenberger and other people reporting on this, of the US government, Russia, and China to try and replicate technologies of UFOs. So is it possible that this was a UAP manned by non-humans, whether remotely or they were there in person, driving the thing? Or is it that we replicated the technology and we were taking it for a test drive? It seems if it was a dogfight and they saw shots being fired, it's more likely than not that this UAP was something foreign, something either from Russia, China, or, somewhere else in the galaxy or universe, right?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, F-16s are notoriously pretty loud aircraft, right? So a dogfight, whether through a training exercise or for real, would certainly capture the attention of civilians. I don't know about this one. I wish it was caught on camera. I'm more liable to believe what we talked about with Michael Schellenberger last week, which was, again, that 12 unidentified non-human spacecraft are apparently in the government's possession. They also apparently recovered non-human pilots, which freaked me out, frankly. But this one, I want to see a little more evidence. I don't want to just jump on the alien train blindly, especially since, as we all know, and as we all had fun in the comments with last week, I believe aliens are demons. So I don't want them here.
Yeah, I want them to take me with them. I don't care if they stay or send people to stay here. I will go with them gladly. I'm hopping on the alien train, spacecraft, UAP, what have you. I'm on it. But yeah, I think there needs to be some kind of way for us to report on this. I don't know, some kind of trusted center. Maybe it's this National Research Center of UFOs or what have you, because it seems to me that the government plans on keeping their secrets. At least up until this point, we have to rely on whistleblowers, and people are risking losing their security clearance and their job by telling us what the US military knows about UAPs and alien spacecraft. I just want them to be transparent, to be quite frank. I don't think there's any reason why you have to hide this information from the American public. The only reason I think they're doing it is because they see Russia and China as competitors and who can collect and replicate this technology, which I don't know if that's a good use of our resources. I think, as many of the folks we've talked to, like Avi Loeb, have pointed out, this is a matter of human importance, disregarding national borders. It's a matter of interest to humanity. If there's any kind of life form coming from somewhere else in the galaxy or universe, we should all know about it.
I think the government's other incentive here is to perhaps avoid panic from the populace. If there was a national collective idea that that UFOs were real, that aliens were real, I mean, that could freak a lot of people out. I don't know how it would necessarily change their behavior, but could potentially incite panic. But at the end of the day, we live in a democratic republic. We are adults. We have a right to access information that concerns our livelihood, and particularly what happens outside of Earth. So I think it's unfair to the American people to try to hide information based on what the government perceives to be in their best interest. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the way that they handled the COVID pandemic, where Dr. Fauci said at one point that he had fudged the numbers on what it would take to get to herd immunity because he didn't think the American people were ready to hear it yet. And it's like, who are you to decide that, right? Just because you're a so-called expert doesn't mean that you automatically know better than other people about how to best assess their risk. And I think the same should apply to this aliens situation.
Yeah, I think this kind of paternalistic attitude makes people resent the technocratic state, genuinely. The idea that these folks have an education that we don't scares many people. They have the information available to them and the training to make decisions on medical research that we don't. And we want to trust them, but to trust someone, you need to have transparency. And that's what's really missing. This idea that the American public is too stupid to understand if it was explained to them or not ready for it is just a disgusting way to look at other human beings, to put it point blank. But the way I think of this dogfight with the F-16s and the potential UFO is military recruiting numbers are down. We had Top Gun Maverick. I think it's time for Top Gun Martian, where you've got the F-16s, the fighter jets, duking it out with the aliens. I think it could be the good next film in the series.
Not to mention a great video game. I mean, I would 100% buy that pre-release so that I could play it because it sounds incredible. I think you're right. I mean, why not lean into the alien stuff? I mean, if this is what gets Gen Z excited about the military, then I'm down for it. Of course, we also have to address the apparent physical fitness issues because I think something like 3/4 of Gen Z and perhaps millennials are not even able to meet the standards for recruitment, which is a real shame. But aliens may be the answer.
Yeah, how are we going to fight the aliens if you guys won't get into shape? I don't want to give the U.S. military any recruiting tactics or strategies whatsoever. That is not what I want to do. But I think this story really reflects a pattern we're seeing of more and more reporting on UAPs and UFOs. That's really exciting. I think there's some reality behind this theory that there's a soft launch of aliens. So we had David Grush be a whistleblower. Then we had members of the U.S. military and intelligence community confirm what the whistleblower reported on about the spacecraft being obtained by the U.S. government and about potential non-human pilots of the spacecraft. So it seems to be a trend that we're moving closer to being open about the presence of aliens, at least getting some kind of confirmation from government, which I think is a much better place to be than the one we are now, where it's kind of treated like widespread speculation. It seems pretty clear to me based on the amount of reporting we've had and people in the intelligence and military community corroborating the same story around what the U.S. government has. It's time for the U.S. government to say something. We live in a democracy, and that's really at the heart of this.
Yeah, and I think it's just nice in general to see people taking this seriously now, as opposed to mockery or dismissal that has long been the response to alleged alien sightings. Now people are actually investigating and being willing to, accept the presupposition that these things are real and something needs to be done about it, whether that's simply confirming their existence or learning how to coexist or perhaps going after them and abolishing them, although I know that would make you very sad, Jessica, so maybe we'll save that as the nuclear option. More rising after this.